Hey everyone, welcome to the Mother-Daughter Mixtape. My name is Jada.
And my name is Charmaine.
And welcome to our podcast. For those of you who don't know, we are a mother-daughter duo who is hoping to bridge the gap between generational experiences through dating, life, love, lessons learned, and all of the above.
And this is how the Mother-Daughter Mixtape came to be.
So in today's conversation, we just want you guys to get to know us a little better, understand why we decided to start a podcast, and
so let's get this thing rolling.
Let's get it. So I guess we could just go ahead and start with like some personal introductions. I know that we already told the crowd that, we're a mother-daughter duo, which I'm sure some people are kind of like,
which one's the mother and which one's the daughter?
I feel like when people say that in the comments, I would be so offended because you telling me that I look her age, or you saying that she look my age.
Come on. We'll get into all of that, but yeah, because we have a whole spiel about how this even came to be. So
So I'll let you go first. Go ahead and introduce yourself and let the people know who you are.
The honors of going first.
Mm-hmm.
So
you were here first, so why not, right?
Facts. Like I said, my name is Charmaine. I am Jada's mom, believe it or not. And I am 48. I am a graduate of the North Carolina A&T State University. Go Aggies. I work in the healthcare IT space, and I have been for, I can't even say I'm dating myself because I just told you how old I am, but I've been doing that for about 15 years now, so I really enjoy that. Some of my hobbies include, I actually ride motorcycles, and I'm actually in a club based out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Shout out Eye Candy.
Shout out to the ladies of Eye Candy Motorcycle Club. And I enjoy traveling. Actually, I love traveling. It's one of my passions and things that I really enjoy doing. And I actually enjoy being this one's mother. So that was a journey and something that we will definitely get into as we go along.
I don't know. I'm kind of blushing a little bit because for her to say that she enjoys being my mother, y'all, that's a big deal.
I mean, I think it is a big deal because parenting in and of itself is, there's no handbook. Mm-hmm. So you have to learn along the way. I mean, hopefully you have like other influences in your life to kind of guide you and things like that. But a lot of it is on the job training. So,
and that's why I don't want to do it.
We'll talk about that another day.
So to introduce myself as well, as y'all know, my name is Jada. I am 25 years old. Like, that quarter life crisis is hitting a little bit. And I feel like Gen Zers really invented that whole quarter life crisis, but we ain't got to talk about that today. 25 years old. I went to the illustrious Savannah State University out of Savannah, Georgia.
Can we just take a pause there for the HBCU love? It's just, I don't know, near and dear to my heart, obviously. I wanted you to go to an HBCU, so I was glad that you...
Can we take a pause real quick? Because it's so funny. I thought about this the other day. The fact that, when I was younger and in high school, I did not want to go to an HBCU at all. My mom was like, why not? And I'm like, because I think it's overrated. Girl, I'm so glad I went to an HBCU. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
At all.
Same. And I would love to talk about that a lot more later because, there's a lot to be discussed as it relates to education, higher education, and not to mention being an alumni of the largest public HBCU in the world. Moving on.
Yes, so I went to Savannah State University and I got my bachelor's degree in marketing. Well, I got a bachelor's in business administration with a concentration in marketing. So once I graduated, I, got a job in marketing, and I was very grateful to be able to, get my first job out of college and it be in my field, basically, because that kind of can be a struggle. for some people. But yeah, I'm in the digital marketing space. Love what I do. And some of my hobbies, I love to play video games. I play a lot of Apex, which is like a battle royale style kind of game. But yeah, I love to play video games. Have always had that desire since I was young. I also love to travel. I definitely get that from my mom because we be booking and tripping. Okay,
Listen.
we be outside
Outside.
outside. So love to travel as well. And I just really love trying new things, which really just goes back to the traveling, like trying different experiences, trying new foods. I love food, y'all. I'm such a foodie. Like I love food so bad. So that's another passion for me as well.
And she can cook, y'all. Like,
I can.
She can cook. She can throw down in the kitchen. That's one of the things that she did not get from me. However, I reap the benefits, so not complaining.
Not reap the benefits. But I definitely think, y'all, I just think she just don't like to cook. Like if my mom had a desire to cook, she would know how to cook. And it's not that she doesn't know how to cook. She just doesn't. She doesn't have a...
It's not fulfilling for me
Yeah.
in terms of like, oh, I really want to get in the kitchen and whip up something. And like, yeah, can I follow a recipe? For sure. Do I want to cook for 5 or 10 people, 20 people? No, that's not my thing. That's just not my thing. Like I live alone. We'll get into all of that, but you know, and cooking for one is hard, but
Cooking for one?
it is because you end up like recipes are not built to cook
True.
for a single person.
But your problem is you don't like leftovers. So
for the most part, that
exactly.
is true.
Yeah. So yeah, you can cook for one and it'd be fine. You just gonna have leftovers for the next couple of days, and you don't even like leftovers.
Not like that, I
So
don't.
yeah, the only leftovers she'll do is spaghetti.
I was gonna say some type of pasta. Like those are the only one leftovers that really you should eat. It's actually better the next day.
It is. Most leftovers are better.
Not mine.
Well, anything with chicken, like chicken breast, it'd be dry the next day when you heat
Yeah.
it back up in that microwave and stuff. But I digress.
Right.
Anyways, I think we got some introductions out the way. Hopefully you guys know us a bit better on a personal level at this point. I want to kind of shift a little bit in our conversation and just talk a little bit about our relationship and what we kind of have, where we kind of have like similarities, differences, and like what makes our relationship unique.
Yeah.
So I'll let you start.
Yeah, I think we're very similar in the sense that the things that we're passionate about, we're very passionate about them. And those things might not be the same, but just saying that that personality trait is very similar. Like you said, we both like to travel, and I think we enjoy each other's company and enjoy being around one another. So I think, I don't know, just some of those similarities and our personalities. I call her mini me, although we're similar in some ways, but I feel like we probably, I don't know, I don't want to say we're different in more ways than we're similar. I think it just, we have an interesting dynamic that plays well off of one another.
Yeah, like we complement each other well.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll also add like something that we also are, where we have similarities, is that we're very like, we're talking about passion and things like that. We also have a big like thing and passion or whatever for family. We love our family.
Yes.
We, are very family oriented as well. So we take our family and
Very
things
serious.
that come from them and all of that, like we take that very seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
So as far as differences, I would agree a bit that we have similar personalities, but again, they're not like exact. So it's like we do have differences in like the way we think sometimes, and things like that. But also, like you said, we just really complement each other well.
Yeah, I think so. I think the biggest glaring difference to me is that I'm an introvert, and I would consider you to be an extrovert.
For sure.
Yeah, so I am more reserved, way more laid back. I'm just more of the person that's going to sit back, observe the room, and, not that I'm trying to read people, but I learn a lot about people from listening to them or listening to conversations. Not to say that I won't include myself or whatever, but I'm not going to be the center of attention. Like that's just not who I am as a person.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I agree that I'm definitely the extrovert out of the two of us, where it's like And I'm always pushing her like, you got to get out the house. You got to do this. You got to make friends. If you
Listen.
want to find your husband, you got to get out the house. Like,
the struggle is real because I'm a homebody. That comes along with being an introvert. I'm a homebody. Like, I enjoy being in my personal space, chilling, relaxing. You know, that is just my MO. You know, not to say that I don't get out. Of course I do. And I enjoy when I do. Just getting out the house is the hard part. Like, once I'm actually out, like, I'm good, having a good time, all that. But having to put clothes on and get pretty and cute and get made up and done up, like, that's going to be, I don't want to say a rare occasion, but it's not going to be like every day or every weekend even. So,
yeah. And I'll also say too that I think there's a misconception with like not introverts, with extroverts, that like we're just always ready to go out, be out all the time. Us extroverts need time to, like you said, be in the house, enjoy our personal space. I'm an extrovert, but I'm also a Taurus, and not to bring in zodiac signs or anything like that, but I love to be in my like own space. Like, I thoroughly enjoy being by myself. I've never been one of those kind of people where I feel like I need to be around people all the time. Like, I enjoy my own company. So even though I am an extrovert, I, make friends very easily. I am able to, have that social aspect of myself and be in a social environment and be comfortable. But I also just really enjoy being by myself as well.
Well, that's one of the things that we can add to similarities is that, we enjoy being in our own space. And I'm glad that you brought up the zodiac, because that's something that I didn't bring up during my introduction. I am a Pisces to the core, a March Pisces at that, because I feel like y'all February Pisces are just a little bit different. And I'm not saying, wait, so, ooh,
I'm like, is that shade?
It's no tea, no shade. That's not in a negative way. I just think that March and February Pisces are a little bit different.
But that's how it is around the whole zodiac. Like, one month versus the other is just very different.
So, yeah, I'm a Pisces to the core. So,
yeah, and I'm a Taurus to the core. Like, I'll pull up my chart right now. I got about 4 or 5 different Taurus placements. Like, y'all don't need to know my whole chart, but just know I'm a Taurus to the core. Like, very stubborn, but I love food. But I also like to have my lazy days. But I also like to sleep. But I also like to do this and that. So, that's just me.
Maybe you should have been a Gemini. You were actually supposed to be a Gemini based on my due date. What happened?
I came 2 weeks early. That's what happened. I love Gemini women. I love women, period, as it relates to zodiac signs. But we could talk about that another day.
Okay.
I love Gemini women, though. So before we move on to the next topic, I did want to speak a bit about like what makes our bond special, especially compared to, I don't want to say compared to, because, it's no comparison, but just, our relationship and things like that, because not everybody wants to start a podcast with their mother.
Facts, which is funny that you mentioned that, because I never would have thought that you would have wanted to do this with me of all people. Like,
why she got to say it like that? Like, with me of all people?
I mean, like, think about it. We have always known, I won't say always known, but we know that we have a cool relationship. We are friends as well as I'm your mother. So I don't know. I guess I was thinking about it more from a motherly perspective.
Yeah, she don't want to start our podcast with her mama.
I mean, we did some research, right? How many other mother-daughter podcasts of this nature in terms of like the topics that we plan to talk about? We didn't really find much out there.
Yeah.
So that was really a catalyst for us to say, maybe there's a space that we can create, which I thought was pretty dope. But yeah, I think that our relationship is very unique. It has grown to get to this point because we haven't always been here. But I'm enjoying the space that we're in right now. Like I said, we're very close in not just being mother-daughter, but friendship-wise. Like, I consider you my BFF. Like, you're really my best friend.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we do this because I think that a lot of people have a misconception that, you can't have a friendship with your mother because there's that term or whatever of, oh, I ain't one of your little friends. And it's like...
And you're not, but...
She's not one of my little friends, but... this my homegirl.
For sure.
Yeah. So we talk about almost any and everything. And I think that's really what makes our bond special, that we can have conversations and still be able to establish boundaries and still have a level of respect for each other. For us to have the conversations in the first place. And like I said, I just think it's really important to showcase that within this podcast, because I think that, like my mom said, it's like, there's not a lot of women, especially Black women, that are doing podcasts like this where we're talking about the things that we're talking about. Of course, there are podcasts out there that, have conversations around parenting and things like that, which is something that we will cover in the near future in our, future episodes. But I personally have not seen that there have been many women that are sitting down talking to their mothers about dating and their relationships and their dating experiences and things like that. So I think that's what, like you said, makes us unique and kind of allows us to have that bit of a niche where it's like you can have a relationship with your mother or daughter that's more, I guess, on the friendly side per se, but there still be a level of respect there as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know, I just love that dynamic about us. I could probably like go on and talk about it for days, but I won't, not yet. But yeah, I have to, and this is more to you than to our audience, but I just really enjoy that aspect about our relationship that, we can be authentic and truthful and not feel like we have to not step on toes or, things like that. But like you said, there's a certain level of mutual respect there. And there are definitely and will always be boundaries. We might teeter very close to them, but I think we do a really good job of respecting each other's space, if you will.
Yeah. And I also just want to touch a bit on what you just said about authenticity. Like, I want this podcast, for the listeners, the viewers, whatever, I want this to feel like you guys are sitting in on a FaceTime conversation with us. Like, this is what it looks like when we sit down at 2 p.m. on a Friday calling each other because work done slowed down for the day and we done had a minor inconvenience and we calling each other to tell each other what happened. Like, that's what this podcast is supposed to feel like. It's just a mother-daughter conversation, literally.
Facts.
So yeah, we just want to be as authentic as possible and, just really showcase what that looks like in a mother-daughter relationship, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about why we decided to start our podcast. But I think also, like, we want to talk about our goals and what we hope to do with the podcast as well, who we hope to reach, and just, what we foresee in the future for the Mother-Daughter Mixtape.
I think surface level and our initial thoughts were that we wanted to reach people like us, mothers and daughters, more specifically Black women, and I'll say young adults, even all the way back to teenage years, because I feel like that's a very pivotal time in a mother-daughter relationship. I mean, it's always like for life, but that time period, and we will definitely get into what those years look like between us. But, all the way back to teenage years and all the way up to women in their 50s, 60s, whatever that age gap is between a mother and a daughter, and reaching, like you said, specifically more so Black women, because, I think that there's a very different dynamic when we see what that looks like versus other races and nationalities, backgrounds, things like that. So, and I don't even know if that's surface level, but for me, the initial thought was people like us.
Yeah. And I'll also add as well, my mom talked a lot about, the mother-daughter aspect, but I also think it's important to just give more perspective for mothers to understand their daughters and daughters to understand their mothers as well. A lot of our conversations will hopefully just shine a bit of light from both of our perspectives, especially since we're in two different times in our lives right now. And just kind of give their perspective. Like you said, for example, in those teenage years, what did that look like for me versus what it looked like for you? And hopefully it will shine a light for you guys to kind of get that perspective from both ends of, the spectrum, the story, whatever you want to call it. So yeah. So just to kind of reel it back in a little bit to talk a bit about, how the Mother-Daughter Mixtape came about. Let's start with the name. and how we came to the Mother-Daughter Mixtape.
It was a process. Let me just put that out there.
Ugh.
That was an interesting eye roll.
Listen, it took about 40 days and 40 nights for us to come up with the name alone.
It was not easy, for sure.
No.
Because we wanted it to be
a good representation of us and our relationship, for sure.
Facts. And I think the mother-daughter, like, we wanted something that correlated to a mother and a daughter in the relationship, but I don't even know how we came up with mixtape, but as soon as I heard it, I knew it was the one. Mm-hmm. One, we both love music. Like, we are huge musical fanatics. I'm a huge fan of live music. I love going to concerts.
I love concerts so bad.
And yeah, let me just say the 90s was the best decade for music. Period. Hands down. Not up for discussion.
I can't even argue with that.
Yeah. And I mean, all the genres. Mm-hmm. All the genres. The 90s was the best. So yeah, we both have a huge love for music. But the mixtape to me is symbolic in that it's a conglomerate of different inputs, if you will. So when I think about a mixtape, I think of almost like a remix. I think of different ways that information or musical styles and tastes, they just kind of morph and form into just something special, right? So I don't know, for me, that was very symbolic of our relationship because it has definitely morphed. It has, and I think it's very special. So for me, I don't know, the mixtape, it just sounds good for one, and it's kind of catchy, and I don't know, it just rings nicely to me, even as I say it, the Mother-Daughter Mixtape. But I just love the idea of how we came to this part of even considering doing this. And I think when I think of a mixtape, I also think that a lot of the time you have a lot of different artists that contribute to a mixtape or what have you. So, we're bringing our own contributions into these conversations, and
we'll be bringing special guests and stuff like that. So
yeah, for sure.
It just all just made sense, especially for us. So
yeah, and I think
good representation of us.
Yeah, and I think we wanted it to be indicative of who we are, but not just a surface level name.
Right.
Like, there's so much more that went into it and so much more that will come from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So welcome to the Mother-Daughter Mixtape, y'all.
Welcome.
Yeah, we are so excited to, just bring y'all along this journey with us. We are going and y'all are going with us, and we're learning. Y'all are learning with us, hopefully. And yeah, we're just super excited of what will come out of it. Yeah, I guess as far as like what to expect out of the conversations that we'll be having, honestly, I think it's fair game. Like, we will pretty much talk about almost any and everything, except my one boundary, I don't talk about sex with my mama.
And I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear about
Let's be real.
You about what she got going on.
I don't want to hear it. Okay?
I can't even lie to y'all. So that's the mutual agreement that we have there, because
Facts.
I don't want to know nothing. She don't want to know nothing, and that's perfectly fine.
And is.
But I mean, yeah, like I said, everything else is pretty much fair game. Dating, relationships, whether romantic or platonic, just our life experiences and the lessons we've learned along the way.
Yep. Family,
parenting, daughtering, because that's
a thing.
Its own thing as well.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, I think it's just really important to get the perspective from both sides. So I think that hopefully, I'll be able to just shine some light for women that are at, the same point in their life as I am at 25. This is a very pivotal time in our lives. So I just think that, daughtering, especially at this age, is, and even, from the time that I was 16 or 15 and going through those teenage years up until now, a lot has changed. And I just want to be able to, like I said, give that perspective for mothers so that you guys can better understand each other. I think that's really important. But yeah, in adulting as well, as a new adult, like, I'm 25 years old, but I feel like I originally was going to say that I'm probably like a 4-year-old adult because like once you turn 21, it's kind of considered when you're an adult, really 18, but 18 ain't really an adult for real.
It's really not.
It's not, because 21 is when you start drinking, but then 25 is when you can rent a car. So it's like, I'm really a 0-year-old
Is that where
adult. Like,
that's hilarious.
I'm a couple months old. I'm a 0-year-old adult. Okay, so I want to talk through those experiences as well of like just what adulting y'all don't understand. I be calling my mama so bad about stuff that
Every day
because adulting is so hard. Like, how did you do this at my age and you wasn't calling somebody every 30 seconds for help? Hello?
Well, today is a very different day and time.
She was having to page people. She was having to page people when she needed help, y'all.
We doing the shady stuff now? Is that where we're going with this?
It's not shade. It's reality.
Okay. It is true. I had a pager, but that's another conversation for another day.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, but yeah, it's definitely a different day and time now than when I was 25 or in my early to mid 20s. And honestly, I don't know that I would want to be your age at this point.
Oh my gosh. Why did the world have to burn up in flames when I became an adult?
Yeah, it's very different. So
I hate that for me.
I'm sorry, your face. Okay, moving on. Maybe we should just move on to the next topic.
Anyway, so what to expect? Basically this, like my mom and I banter
all the time,
bounce off of each other. So very casual conversations.
Yeah.
You know, it's just going to be, like I said, I want y'all to feel like y'all are here listening to us on a FaceTime call. Like, this is just what we do. And we just wanted to showcase it to the world because I just think that we have really great conversations. And I think we have really great and interesting perspectives as well.
For sure. And I really hope it comes through in a very authentic way because, I mean, I feel like we're authentic with each other, but I also want it to come across that way because sometimes you know, I've watched other people and it just seems scripted or, you know, that's not what I want for us.
Right. Yeah, I agree. We'll also be, you know, showcasing a bit of some segments and things like that. We'll let it kind of be to be announced, to be determined, and let it be a surprise. But we just do have a lot in store for this podcast, a lot of ideas. Like we said, we plan on bringing some special guests to, you know, have some, you know, really great conversations about, you know, just really great topics. So just expect greatness is what it sounded like, honestly.
Period.
Like we come in with the heat, we come in with the combos, and we want y'all to just come along the way with us as we just sit down and talk, honestly.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say is we want this to be engaging. Like, I don't want people to feel like, okay, we're just talking and there's nothing that they can contribute. This is a conversation not only between us, but a conversation with our audience as well. So whether you're just listening or you're watching in a video format, you know, we really want them to be just as engaged with us as we are with each other. So that, to me, when we talk about goals and things, you know, we kind of talked about that a few minutes ago, that would be a huge goal for me, is engagement
and building a community.
Yes,
for sure. Like, the engagement part is very important, but it definitely won't happen if we don't have a community. So
for sure,
we definitely want to hear, like she said, hear you guys' thoughts. We want you guys to comment, share it with, you know, all the people that you know. And yeah, we want to engage with you all. So yeah.
And feel free to ask us questions.
That's going to be a segment in and of itself.
It will.
Send us in questions, stories.
Yeah.
You know, we want to interact with you guys. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that you want to touch on before we get this show on the road? I mean,
I don't think so. My goal for today was just for, you know, everyone to just learn a little bit about us. Of course, they will continue to learn more about us as we have more episodes and talk about more topics, because our personalities will be
the stars of the show.
Yeah. So that, for me, I think was the main thing for today, was just to say, hi, my name is, and this is what you can look forward to. So
yeah, I think we're both really excited. It has been a journey getting to this point of even just pressing record on this first episode, y'all. Like, y'all just don't understand how
it's a
much
process.
it is a process. And I don't want it to sound, pessimistic or anything like that, because if we didn't want to do it, we just simply wouldn't.
Yeah.
So I think we're really excited to, like I said, get this show on the road, engage with you guys, have these conversations. And we just hope that you guys enjoy. Please give feedback. We are very brand new at this. This is the first time that we've done something like this. So I think that's important to keep in mind, as far as like giving us a bit of grace, because like I said, this is the first time we're doing this, but we're going to learn as we go. And we just hope that y'all are willing to go on that ride with us.
Yeah. And it will be a ride,
a journey. So
hop
on in. I got a little extra space for one, maybe two, maybe three. So, I mean, I think that's it. We hope that you guys are ready to go on this journey with us. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at the MD, M as in Mary, D as in dog, mixtape on Instagram, and the MD mixtape on YouTube as well. You will be able to find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts at the Mother-Daughter Mixtape as well.
Yeah, so we really are looking forward to taking this journey along with you, and we can't wait for you to see what we have in store.
Yeah. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.